What's going on to you Capricorns out there? Hope y'all are having a great day. So for you Capricorns, you have the Eight of Swords, the Knight of Swords, and you have the Page of Pentacles here. So y'all already know how it is that I feel about 8 cards. For all the people that don't know, for all the new subscribers, 8 cards are about walking away from a situation because y'all are in a position to take it or leave it. So y'all don't care about what is supposed to be, have gained, or, you don't care about that stuff. You pretty much see the writing on the wall of a situation, right? Okay. All right. So the Eight of Swords and the Eight of Swords and the Knight of Swords speaks to how a lot of you Capricorns are not afraid of walking away from any kind of connection that you have with somebody. I see that a lot of you Capricorns, like I said before, a lot of y'all have been taking the time out to really understand your value. And one of the things that you Capricorns have been understanding is that, when it comes to understanding value, people really can say whatever. And they really can make things seem like they're better than it actually is, right? And when, you Capricorns actually call it out and be like, you don't actually think that being with them is as good as they're trying to make it seem, right? A lot of you Capricorns are starting to see the cap or the nonsense behind the confidence, right? And you Capricorns are starting to understand that the confidence is a dysfunction. It's a delusion. Who a lot of people actually are really is not the stunting. It doesn't match the stunting. This is why it is that I tell y'all to watch what they do, listen to what it is that they have to say, and then continue to watch them. See what happens, right? The Page of Pentacles represents here, right? You come to find out that they're not as who they seem or who they act like they are. And you're right, The more you date, the more experience you have, the more you strive to be as good, right? Or as great as you Capricorns can be, right? The more you Capricorns will understand that a lot of people out here lying. You know what I mean? A lot of people out here lying. And they're going to try to make it seem like you Capricorns need them, right? But in actuality, you really don't. Because it's all about trying to get you to be desperate and hooked on them while they act like they're so independent. So that's one of the good things that a lot of you Capricorns are learning. A lot of you Capricorns are learning that, thankfully so, that it's pretty much smoke and mirrors. It's just magic games. It's just magic tricks, right? Cheap corner parlor tricks. It's not anything for real. It's just people, talking a good game, but not actually really being about that life where they could give a real relationship. That's not what it's about at all. The real relationship, that's not what it's about. It's about fronting. And a lot of you Capricorns, I see a lot of you are actually relieved because the Hierophant and the Seven of Wands, the Hierophant is about internal joy because you are one of the realists out here. You don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to, do anything super crazy. You Capricorns don't have to flip something, Y'all are one of the realists just by striving to be consistent, but not too predictable. You understand what I'm saying? And when you're consistent enough, you got to understand that it really does intimidate anyone who is fake. It will intimidate them. Anybody who is fake, it will intimidate them because, a lot of people don't actually expect you Capricorns to really follow through. But then when they see you Capricorns really following through, like, hey, I'm paying. You know, we go in Dutch. I run this business. You know, they think that you capping. They think that it's all talking. You just lying. But then when you Capricorns are actually like, you know, I know the word cap is in the name Capricorn, but it doesn't necessarily mean that y'all are capping. You know, they think that you capping. But when you actually showing, you prove, you said this and then you actually showed it. Now the Seven of Wands is about how it is that, you know, they pretty much have to figure a way to tear you down, or figure a way to get into some sort of argument or a disagreement to where they could say, oh, they can't handle it. It's too much. You Capricorns are too overbearing. You're too controlling. You're too possessive. You're too confusing. You're too all this other type of nonsense. And the Six of Wands and the Ace of Cups is about, you know, you Capricorns used to be affected by that, but not anymore. When a person says, hey, you know, they don't want to have anything to do with you, you Capricorns will be checking in with yourselves internally to see if you are the ones that messed up. But when you Capricorns know that y'all are not the ones that messed up, I don't think that you Capricorns really care. If you really ask me, y'all are getting to a point where you Capricorns are just like, okay, if you want to leave, leave. And the other person, right? The Ace of Cups, the Four of Cups, the other person's going to be like, what? And you Capricorns are going to be like, yeah, leave. If you really want to leave, leave. You understand what I'm saying? You Capricorns are going to kind of show them that, like, hey, leave if that, you know, if that's the case, you know? And they're going to be like, they didn't actually expect you Capricorns to really call them out on their nonsense, right? And we're going to get deeper into this, because then you have the Justice and the Eight of Cups. The truth is, right, the Justice and the Eight of Cups, the truth is you Capricorns, and this is the thing that a lot of people mistake. A lot of people, I can't even say mistake. Maybe they mistake it, but this is the thing. A lot of people gaslight and try to make it seem like, or lie, and try to make it seem like that's not what it is. And it's the same thing that goes for me. The Justice and the Eight of Cups. You Capricorns are not afraid of the consequences that other people could potentially say or do to you. So now you Capricorns are in a position where you Capricorns are learning how to be more of yourselves, right? And because you Capricorns are learning to call people's bluff out, like, hey, if you want to leave, leave. Now it's like you're defensive, right? That's the lie that people come up with. They'll say things like, oh, you Capricorns are defensive. And the truth is, it's not that you Capricorns are defensive. That's not what it is at all. What it is about you Capricorns, right? What most people consider defensive to be, they're totally taking it out of context. Totally. Like I said before, being defensive is about having something to hide. It's about trying to conceal intentions. It's about self-protecting oneself. And it's also about an over attention to defense, right? Needing to always masquerade one's intentions because they just want to survive. They want to remain standing. When that's not what it is. You Capricorns are straight up and down unafraid of saying what you want to say and doing what it is that you want to do. So because of the fact that you are not afraid of that type of stuff, a lot of people will get offended. And this is the same thing a lot of people mistake about you and I. They'll think that, oh, you Capricorns are super defensive, now, and your Capricorns are a pain in the butt. Y'all are the B word and all this other type of stuff. It's like, nah, that's not what it is. It's just that you Capricorns understand yourselves. And that's another layer of the game that we're going to get into. It's the fact that you are supposed to position yourself to when someone wants to give you a raw deal or shortchange you or give you a bad deal, you're supposed to stick your middle finger up at them and say, yo, forget about you. That literally, that's the point. You're supposed to set yourself up for success, to be able to actually pick and choose the quality of the people that you allow into your life. You're not supposed to just accept everything. You're not supposed to just be okay with whatever it is that people want to do to you and whatever it is that people want to say about you or whatnot. You know, you're supposed to set the record straight when you see it accordingly, to set the record straight. I'm not saying you Capricorn should be super sensitive, but what I am saying is that, you know, every now and again, tell a person, yo, forget about you. You know, I don't need you. Because I don't. You know? But what a lot of people going to do is a lot of people going to lie about you and say that you're being defensive. That's not the case at all. It's just that you Capricorns have reached a point spiritually, mentally, physically, where you realized you're fed up. And what are you doing with the anger or the frustration or the irritation? You're doing something about it. You Capricorns are evolving the correct way. You're calling people's bluffs. You're seeing, you are applying pressure the correct way. A lot of times people say apply pressure and it's totally wrong. People be saying that they applying pressure and it's completely wrong. They talking about how it is that, you know, they basically like trying to guilt the person into like, they doing all this stuff to guilt the person to be in a relationship with them. That's not what applying pressure is. Applying pressure is about, like I said before, it's about getting to the truth. So the way that you Capricorns are applying pressure the correct way is by actually seeing with all of these, by beginning to get irritated. Y'all are irritated, which is good. And then now y'all are asking yourselves questions like, okay, why is it that all these people treat you with a certain level of disrespect? Why is it that everything that you do is hyper scrutinized and completely given misnomers and completely taken out of context? Why you do what you do is factually factually not what people say that you do. So it's not actually what it is that they're saying that you're doing. You're actually doing it for a reason, or for a real reason. They're just basically spewing lies about that. So let's clarify the Knight of Cups. Excuse me, the Eight of Cups, I mean. And now that you started asking those questions, now you're starting to ask more invasive questions and become unafraid of the consequences. Let's see what a person is into when they start really asking questions, stuff like this, and start doing stuff like that. You understand what I'm saying? Where you now start asking questions, because now it's you Capricorns like, okay, this person is doing this and doing that and doing this and doing that. Okay, let's see what type of time they on for real, for real. Are those individuals really like this? And one thing that you Capricorns are starting to come to realize is a lot of people are talking about the value that they bring to the relationship, but they're lying, because when you're trying to get to know them and you're coming at them for real, you want to exchange numbers. You're talking to them. You're exuding confidence. You're applying pressure the correct way, right? You're not letting them get away with coming up with excuses to failure, right? You know, they just write you off. And, you know, when you Capricorns are slick because you learn from the game, okay, it's not cool to give the person, it's not cool to ask the person for their number. I'm going to go ahead and exchange numbers with them or offer up mine. Now that's applying pressure the correct way. Because if the person is truly looking for somebody, the answer will be, let's do it. As long as you step to them correctly and they're sincerely looking, the answer should be, let's do it. They don't have a real answer. Excuse me, they don't have a real reason to say no. Because if they're saying that they're really looking for somebody, unless you've never really dated interracially, you know, or some sort of, you know, cultural, religious situation, you know, Christian is, you know, a Muslim or whatever, that, you know, one has to convert. There is no real reason why the person would say no, right? Especially if you step to somebody decently. So let's clarify the Eight of Cups. So you have the Knight of Wands, Two of Pentacles, the Tower, the Ace of Swords, and then you Capricorns have the Emperor. So this right here, right, the Six of Wands and the Two of Pentacles is about, yes, because the frustration is changing you for the better. A lot of you Capricorns are realizing that, you know, this has been one big game on y'all. That, you know, the times where people tell you, oh no, you know, you just don't add up, you know, they want you to chase up on after them because you know, they actually can't really be in a functional relationship. The Tower represents the realization of how broken other people are and how much games that they play, right? And they play on your perception. They get you to think that, you know, you Capricorns were lesser than, and they had all these people interested, when now that was either a straight up and down lie, or they may have had all these people interested, but they couldn't keep those individuals. So what good is that? And then the Ace of Swords now is representative of your mind is sharper. Now you know better. So guess what happens? This is what I was talking about when I was saying the defensive thing, because you're less afraid, because you know what's behind that curtain. There is no more mystery like that anymore. Yes, of course, there's always going to be a little bit of a mystery, right? Anything can happen, right? But there's a little bit less fear or intimidation, because now you have more experience to be able to feel comfortable to when a person is uncomfortable with you looking behind the curtain to see, you know, that they've been lying the whole time, or they've been fronting like to be something that they're not. You Capricorns are not uncomfortable with that, because part of what is having you Capricorns not in the past not actually venture into the curtain and see what's going on behind it is the fear of making people feel uncomfortable. I don't care about making people feel uncomfortable. I don't care. Because for me, on my journey, that's one of the things that I realized, and I'm going to have to essentially throw away, is the fear of making people uncomfortable. Because if you really take too much time accommodating other people, and they are, if you put in too much work accommodating people who are hostile to you, you will never actually be happy. You'll never actually reach the level that you can reach, because they're taking advantage of the fact that you want to keep things peaceful, when all it is that those people understand is a greater, more coercion, a greater coercion, or a greater force imposing on them and essentially breaking them, basically. That's a whole other story for another day. That's a whole other, that's a whole other piece of game. That's something that I learned from pressing people. But anyway, that's nothing, neither here nor there. That's my hood days. But anyway, right? I'm not from the hood. But it doesn't mean that I haven't learned anything, right? But anyway, the Emperor is about how, and the comfortability with it, like I was talking about, right? And the power that comes along with it, and the wisdom that comes along with that. A lot of you Capricorns are learning to do things for yourselves for real, and become comfortable with it. And to hell with if people feel uncomfortable with it, because if you try to accommodate every person that seriously feels uncomfortable or told you that they didn't like you, you Capricorns wouldn't be doing anything for yourselves. But that's pretty much it. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share the video. There's a link in the comment section below called the Linktree link. Click on it. It will redirect you to a website where there's all the ways to get a personal reading from me. Or you can contact me at Kareemspiritworks@yahoo.com.